Welcome, everybody. This is Jason, and the name of this week's workshop is Wizard in Glass. It's a workshop about editing glass TXMTs or even adding them to objects. So let's have a look. What is the TXMT? The TXMT is a material definition resource. It serves as a bridge between the SHPE and the TXDR. The TXDR is what gets applied over the mesh. The TXMT is how it gets applied. Switching out a TXMT can be either easy or a bit more complex depending on whether the TXMT is textured and how the material is applied. For simple transparent glass materials, the process is add a new subset in the GMDC, reference a subset in the SHPE, and add a glass TXMT. For more complex effects, in addition to that, we'll need to add a textured glass TXMT and link that to the TXDR. To add a simple glass TXMT, you can reuse any glass material in the game, but for this one, I'm going to swap my own custom glass material. So we clone the object as we normally would in Object Workshop. We select the TXMT in the resource tree, and then the glass TXMT in the resource list. In the TXMT plugin, we copy the file name. Then in the resource list, we right-click and we select replace in the dropdown. We replace this resource with the non-textured glass material, the simple glass material that I included in the resource post. Then we just paste over the file name we copy, and we paste the file name that we copied right over that. We commit our changes. Within the TXMT plugin, if you go to categorize properties, you can see that there's the default environment map. So if you look at the standard material environment cube coefficient, this is how shiny the glass is. You can raise or lower the level of reflection. So this is 44, 44, 44. If we consider that these are RGB values, this is a little bit reflective, but not a whole lot. So we can crank that way up. We can crank it down. We can make it almost like a matte. Like, for example, dirty building glass, we wouldn't need it that high. And another thing within the environment cube is standard material environment cube texture name. This is the default Maxis cube that it pulls from, or you can even create your own custom cubes, but I won't touch on that. If we go further down, we've got the default textures group. This group includes standard material diffuse coefficient and standard material emissive coefficient. What is diffuse? Diffuse is how the material reacts when light from another object hits it. And the emissive coefficient is the light or the glow that this material itself emits. But for glass, we can kind of think of these as inner and outer glows. It's a little bit hard to explain, but we will experiment with it when we get to the practical part of the workshop. So in addition to the diffuse and emissive coefficients, we can experiment with the environment cube itself. And this is not an exhaustive list. I linked Pixel Hate's Exploring the TXMT. You would need to reference part 2 of that to see all of the different Maxis environment cubes. But we don't always, for most glasses, Maxis uses the reflection kitchen high contrast environment cube, but you could have it do the gold reflection, the silver reflection if you wanted to change it up. For the textured glass TXMT, we're going to do essentially the same thing, but we're also going to add a texture. So we clone the object in Object Workshop, then we select the TXMT in the resource tree, and once again in the resource list. We open our trusty notepad, we copy the file name and paste it to the notepad, and then we go down to the standard material based texture name, and we also copy that and paste that there. Once again, we right click on the TXMT in the resource list and we select replace in the dropdown. This time we're replacing it with the texture glass TXMT. Then we highlight the file name. We copy the file name from the notepad and we paste that over. And then we do the same thing with standard material-based texture name. We just paste right over that. We select the TXTR in the resource tree and the wood TXTR in the resource list. We right-click on that resource and we select clone in the dropdown. That's going to clone the TXTR. In the TXTR plugin, we right-click, we build DXT. We just use the DDS Builder as we normally would. We have one of the textures from the resource post. We use DDS Builder. Then we rename the file name, everything after the dash and before the underscore, we just give it a new file name. In this case, I just use glass. We commit our changes for the TXTR. So because we added a new resource, we need to perform a fix integrity operation. We go Tools, Object Tools, Fix Integrity. We don't rename anything in the scenegraph wizard. We just click Update and then we click OK. Then we save our changes and that's it. We're ready to test in game. Okay, so how to put the workshop lesson into practice. We open CMPE, we're in Object Workshop, and we just click Open. We grab that cloning template, then we click Next, and I'm going to call this Workshop Cube Untextured. And then we make that 350. We click Finish. Just call that Workshop Cube Untextured. Give that a quick update. Rename that Glass Cube Untextured. Give that a quick save. Now, when we make a standalone object, first thing we normally do is get a GID. So we'll grab ourselves a GID. We paste that over. Check update inmats. I don't think there are any, but doesn't matter. Commit that and we save. So this is now a standalone object. Next, we select the TXMT in the resource tree and the glass TXMT in the resource list. Then we grab the file name down here in the TXMT plugin. We Control C to copy. Then we grab untextured glass once again in the resource list, the glass material. We right click, we select replace from the dropdown, and this is my untextured glass. Then in the file name, we highlight everything and we just paste over the original file name. We commit, give that a quick save, and let's see what it looks like in the GMDC. Yep. It is now an untextured glass. So let's hop back to the TXMT. Say I want to mess with this a little bit. I want like kind of an aquarium glass. We select the glass TXMT. We hop over to the categorize properties tab. Now here we can change how it reflects. So for example, we have 44, 44, 44. This is kind of standard glassy, but not too reflective. We could crank all of those up to 250 if we wanted to, or we could just do one. These are RBG values. So say I really want the blue to pop for some reason. I just changed that to 185, but I'm not going to do that. Just going to leave the flat reflection. What I am going to do, say you want to mess with the color of the glass. We're not going to mess with the emissive as much, but for the diffuse, say I want like an aquarium glass, kind of a dark green. I can mess with the green value here. I can bring the green up. I can bring the red and the blue down. But another way we can do that, we click on this little arrow next to the diffuse coefficient, and then we go to web colors. And let's say I want dark sea green for some reason. Give that a commit. Let's say that green is a little bit too saturated for my taste. So we hop back to the TXMT. We hop back to the categorized properties tab. Say I want to lower these by like 30 each. So I go 112, 157, 109. That's not quite dark enough. So let's try another 20. So 92, 127, and 79. So we got, instead of just a flat RGB, which gives us a gray, there it is. We've got kind of a darker, smoky green material. And that's the untextured one. Okay, moving on to the textured one. We do the same thing. We open, in the Object Workshop tab, we open the cloning template. Select clone. Glass cube textured this time. Make that 350. Rename our scene graph. And we call this one glass cube textured. Just like that. Back to the plugin view. Let's select the OBJD. And then we make a note of which one we're using. We copy that. We paste it over. We select update all mmats. We update and commit. And if you wanted to add the mmat and make it recolorable, I would recommend the color out of space part 1. It's a different workshop that I did. Give that a quick save. And now we go to the TXMT. We select the glass material. So we open our trusty notepad. We select the glass TXMT in the resource tree. Then once again in the resource list, we copy the file name. We paste the file name to our notepad like so. Then we scroll down and we grab standard material base texture name. We copy that. And because I disabled the glass texture, we're going to need to add that in. So I'm just going to change that to glass. Then, once again, we select it in the resource list. We right click, we replace. This time we're adding textured glass. We copy the file name. We paste over the file name. We copy the textured glass or the standard material based texture name. We paste that over here and we commit. Give that a quick save. That's a TXMT. Now we need to clone and enable a TXTR. So TXTR in the resource tree, this TXTR in the resource list, we right click and in the drop down we clone. Then we grab the TXTR, we build the XT, open, and let's do this one. Build DXT just as we normally would. It needs to be DXT 3 or 5 because those are the only ones that support alpha. And because this is semi-transparent, it needs to be DXT 3. Then we change the file name here to glass. Give that a quick commit. Now let's go to the SHPE in the resource tree, then in the resource list, and it is pointing to glass. So we're good to go. We have tools, object tools, fix integrity, click update, click OK. We wait for SCMPE to stitch everything together. Give that a quick save. Then we go to our GMDC and we preview. And that does not look right. Should be yellow. Okay, so load my game. I've tested my objects, and you can see that replacing the TXMT worked. We've got a textured glass object. We can plug in a different texture if we want to. We can recolor it if we want to, and we have an untextured glass object. It's kind of matte. We can make it shinier. We can change the color. We can do a lot of different things with it. And that's pretty much it.